Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois, and it's finally here. We can finally talk about it. The first episode, the extended episode for Superman and Lois. It finally aired. It's just called Pilot, I think, and we have a lot of talk about because the episode was much longer than a normal episode. But of course, spoiler alert: if you've not watched the episode, go away. Why would you not go watch it? It was awesome. So go watch it and come back to this later. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. What did you think about the premiere episode, the series premiere for Superman and Lois? What did you love? What did you maybe hate? You know, any theories going forward? Because different things popped up in this episode, which, are going to lead, later into the season as you would expect. So any theories you have, let me know all of them in the comment section down below. And of course, if you enjoy the video and you enjoyed the episode, why not drop a like on it to show support and just acknowledgement of how good that was. But obviously, the episode just starts off with something that I just smiled the entire way through. Obviously, there was some sad moments, but it was such classic Superman lore and everything like that. Just a montage of Superman's life, starting from his pod crashing in Smallville, meeting Martha and Jonathan Kent, growing up in Smallville, learning his powers at various ages, and even just the sad moments as well, like Jonathan's heart attack, which is such a vital thing in Superman's mythology and story, that he has all these powers, but he can't save his father from one of the most simple things that kills so many people every day, a heart attack. There's nothing Superman can do there. It was just, I just love this opening montage, even his journey to Metropolis, his arrival as Superman and saving people and various things. Even in like the classic Fleischer suit with the black logo, like I was not expecting that, and I was just sitting there going, "That is awesome!" Like they made that suit just for one quick scene, just because it's for the fans, and it was awesome. Now I did like the meeting Lois Lane for the first time scene. It was a very cute scene. That's probably the best way to describe it. Very cute. Tyler Hoechlin nails Clark Kent. It's he's easily the best Clark Kent since Christopher Reeve. Your opinion on him as Superman is going to vary. I think that's very subjective, and you can argue maybe him being one of the better Clark Kents is subjective as well. But for me, I go into it with an objective opinion, and I think he's pretty much the best Clark Kent since Christopher Reeve, and I think that scene sort of proves it. But just seeing all the major points in their life was really nice as well. The wedding, when he first reveals his powers and everything like that. It was almost like all of it was almost emotional because it's just so iconic. And I think they nailed it in this opening montage. Like, I think you could rewatch this opening montage and be as happy as the first time you watched it, even if it was like the 20th time you've watched it. Now, cutting to and seeing like the contrast between that and their struggles as parents with their kids of, Jonathan, the perfect child, high school footballer and everything like that, and Jordan, the troubled one with social anxiety, was very, very interesting. And I do wonder how much that's going to progress going into later episodes, because it feels this episode really jumps into that and sort of doesn't solve it, but definitely makes a lot of progress by the end of the episode. But I'm sure there'll be more issues that show up in Smallville that add to those issues and maybe bring them up again. So I have to wait and see what happens there. Now, the opening action scene with the power plant in like Meltdown was like movie level stuff. It was actually sort of crazy, and him having to like freeze the ocean in order to then lift it, take it into the plant, and then allow it to melt, just to allow like the plant to cool down and stuff like that. It was just crazy. It was, as I said, like movie level stuff. A lot of this stuff, if you went to the cinema and watched it, you think, okay, I believe that this is a movie. But as we do here in the conversation with General Lane, who was of course Lois Lane's father, the power plant stuff is a recurring issue, and I think we even saw a case of it, or one of the instances with the power plant thing in the montage towards the beginning when they had like the newspapers and news reports. I think they had a power plant thing there, but I don't know how recent that was. Because I think they had that, and then like him. I think they even throw back to something in Supergirl when they saved the spaceship thing. I think it was, which was in like Supergirl, like his first appearance as Superman in Supergirl season 2. I think that might have been a throwback there. I'm not too sure. Now, obviously, I said like there was a lot of like that big jump in the contrast between the montage of Superman and everything like that to then seeing him now struggling with the kids. Well, you see the contrast between the two sons themselves. As I said, we have Jonathan, who's like the youngest starting quarterback for his high school, but Jordan is like stuck at therapy and a bit reclusive and everything like that. I did think it was funny that he was playing Injustice, and not just because he was playing Injustice, or Injustice 2, I think it was, But the fact he was using Raiden to bash on Superman, maybe would have been, I guess maybe could they use Batman? I don't know, but thought that was pretty funny. Actually, maybe it would have been funny if he was using the Flash and maybe go, I prefer the Flash over Superman, much cooler superhero. Would have been funny if he did that. Now, there were many Easter eggs, as you would expect. Usually in a pilot episode, you get a lot of Easter eggs, regardless of the show, if it's like a superhero, based show. But the one that I noticed straight away was the to-do list in Clark and Lois's house. It had Dr. Donner and also call Siegel and Schuster on a chalkboard. Obviously, Dr. Donner, as in, Richard Donner, and Siegel and Schuster are the creators of Superman. So it's fitting that they were there seeing the show as sort of embracing the classic nature of Superman, which was evident in a lot of different parts in the episode. So I thought that was a cool little Easter egg, and there was many throughout the episode as well. There's even some to like Smallville, the show as well. Now, one of the big things in the episode was the debate going about, like it wasn't like throughout the entire episode, but it's brought up at multiple times, is whether or not to tell the twins about Clark being Superman. And you can understand both sides, like Lois' side as to why he should do it, and Clark's side as to why they shouldn't tell them. I completely understand it. Unfortunately, throughout the episode, that situation or that decision is pretty much made up for them. They sort of have to tell them. If not, they just have to admit to it. Like by some point in the episode, they just have to admit to it. But one of the more like tragic parts of the episode, and as I said before, we got to see Jonathan Kent's death, with a heart attack, and we do have Clark getting the call with Martha Kent, his mother, having a stroke. It's very sad, and the music, man, like the music in that scene was so good. Like the music in the whole episode was great. But that moment specifically when he's at his mother's bedside as she's dead and has died, I thought that was just, it hit home. Like it was a really, really well done scene. And I thought Tyler Hoechlin really nailed his reaction to all of it. Now, of course, Superman and Lois and the family aren't the only main characters in this show. We also have Lana Lang and her family. We get to meet them. So that's her husband, Kyle Cushing, and the daughters of Sarah and Sophie. Now, Sophie, I don't think is going to be that much of a relevant character. I think it's just going to be when the family's together. She'll be there. But Sarah is going to be, and you can tell that throughout this episode. She's already had interactions with the twins in the past during the previous Smallville visits, but seems to have more of a connection with Jordan, and we can sort of tell that. Like Jonathan doesn't seem overly interested, but Jordan seems to be like the one that like has memories of her at least. Now, one thing I'm interested in seeing going forward is like the follow-on from the drama at the table that we have with Kyle Cushing, where he has some strong opinions, which, as I said, I'm sure we'll see more of going forward. He's in favor of Morgan Edge and what's going on in Smallville now, and who we know is not the nicest of people. He's responsible for what's going on at the Daily Planet and some other things, and the demise of them as well. So it'll be interesting to see whether Kyle Cushing changes his tune or it becomes more of a hostile environment whenever he gets involved in a conversation or a situation. So that'll be interesting. But speaking of drama, there was drama at the table. Now there's drama in the barn. Now, this is a big thing because this is sort of like plays into one of the twists in the episode. So we have the boys trapped under farm equipment, like those beams or whatever they are, trying to fix the internet, which was in the barn. Like, okay, Martha Kent ran a place to put the router. But we did have Jonathan jumping on Jordan to save him from the falling debris, and that doesn't go by Jordan, who knows that wasn't normal. The fact that they survived that, there was no real issues, they're able to just go around walking, not have to go to the hospital. It's weird. And Jonathan just doesn't react to it. It just, he, like you could say it was denial at the time when watching the episode, but he just sort of pushes it off. And it ends up pushing the topic of revealing everything to the twins, which does see the twins go back to the barn later on and find their father's Kryptonian ship, which is a very cool sequence where like he can put his hand on, the thing shoots out. Now, I'm not sure if that thing that was shot out was meant to be like an orange or amber form of kryptonite. I'm not too sure. We might find out in a later episode, I'm not too sure. But they do face their father, and Clark does reveal he's Superman to his sons, which once again, the music was great in this scene. Just the whole sequence I thought was great with him lifting the truck and flying, and just the reactions from the sons. It wasn't overdone. It felt really natural. Like they just were like in shock that they're seeing their father not only fly, but lift a truck while flying. Pretty insane. Now, I'm intrigued to see how much General Lane is used in the show, but he does show up again with evidence for what is going on with the power plants, and it's like a figure in this like armored suit who does leave a message, but it's in Kryptonian. It says, "You are not a hero, Kal-El." So let's see what happens there, and it gives Clark a good idea of what's going on later on. But yeah, in regards to General Lane, it'll be interesting to see like when and where he shows up throughout the series. But that whole situation, like Clark can't help at that moment because Lois is like sort of says like, look, you got to focus on the family at this point. And that line from General Lane is great where he goes, "You may have fallen in love with Clark Kent, but you married Superman. I think that's a very good like tagline for the show. I think that's a very good tagline for the show, or at least Lois Lane's character in the show. But speaking of Clark and Lois and some like dilemmas that they have, they are stuck in a dilemma whether to buy out the remainder of the mortgage that Martha Kent did take out. And it's pretty much the deciding factor to stay in Smallville, pretty much. You know, the fact that they are going to push forward and, you know, continue the farm and everything like that. And we did learn that Sarah Cushing did take a bunch of pills, potentially leading to a you-know-what. I'm not going to say because YouTube might hit the video. But we did end up having the twins versing the rest of the town because Jordan decided to kiss Sarah, but Sarah's got a boyfriend that we didn't know about until then, and he was watching it. I guess a overprotective boyfriend or a potentially just a person that would probably just naturally get jealous would be surveillancing their girlfriend whenever they're talking to another boy. So yeah. But yeah, we just pretty much had like the two versus the rest. It was an interesting fight, but Jordan's heat vision comes through to stop the fight. And we also learn that he is the one that saved his brother, not Jonathan. So when Jonathan jumped on top of Jordan in the barn, Jordan flips over to save them. And I was like, oh, that's quite the twist. Like the fact that he did the heat vision was a bit of a surprise. But then the fact that we learned that he was the one that actually saved Jonathan, not the other way around, I thought was pretty damn interesting. Now, heading into the final like parts of this episode with the big action stuff, we did have another power plant in trouble, and we do have our first encounter between Superman and this mysterious stranger that's been doing all this stuff. And we do find that he's purposely been hiding behind lead so he can watch Superman, but Superman can't watch him. So he knows a lot about our favorite boy in blue and red and what he can and cannot do. Now, there's some interesting stuff here because we learned the Stranger's Earth was destroyed, but he has a long history against Superman where he is from. So is it Crisis? Is it Crisis related? Is that what we're going to find out? Because this is on Earth Prime. This is post-Crisis. So was he in like a ship and was able to escape what happened with Crisis? Because we do see that like that ship at the end of the episode. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but it wouldn't surprise me too much if Crisis is related here. We did have that Superman versus the Stranger fight. I thought it was really well done, like pretty damn awesome. And he pretty much like recites Kal-El's origins to him, which I thought was like, okay, that's interesting. And that's probably going to have Clark or Kal-El thinking about a lot going forward in at least into next episode, maybe a few episodes as well, until maybe his next encounter with the Stranger. But he does stab him with kryptonite. We do find out later that's his last bit of kryptonite, I think. So maybe he thought it was going to kill him, but it didn't. So you're going to have to restock up. So maybe that's what we'll see him do in another episode, is go on the hunt for kryptonite. And I wonder who's going to have that. We'll have to wait and see. Now, of course, the show is called Superman and Lois. So Superman's going to have a story and a villain, and so is Lois. Now, we get the introduction of that with Lois investigating the goings-on at the Smallville bank. And it's setting up some of her storyline this season, which is Morgan Edge connected. And we see some setup with that with Lana as the episode's ending as well. So it'll be interesting to see how deep that goes and whether Morgan Edge is connected to more than we think, and that's being presented on the surface as well. But, you know, if you're going to give Lois a storyline, investigative journalism is the way to go. Now, I did like the moment where Clark sort of like just realizes exactly what his mother meant when she told him to come back to Smallville. Everything just goes by too fast in Metropolis. And as I think it was Jonathan said towards the beginning of the episode, Smallville, where you experience like an entire year in one day because it just goes so slow. And that slow nature and that downtime is exactly what Clark and his family needs. They might not think that, like Jonathan Jordan might not think they need it, but in reality they probably do. So it's going to be a bit of a change for the family as a whole, but I think it's a much needed change. And this just leads into like Clark knowing exactly what his kids, especially Jordan right now, are going through with the emergence of powers. But the big thing is that Clark's parents or the kids' grandparents aren't there now to deal with it like how they did with Clark. It's now Clark and Lois's job to deal with it, and it's going to be a big learning curve for them. Now, I did like that the episode ends with the boys being happy. Like, it's a happy ending with the boys being like happily curious about Superman, not hating it. They want to know more. They want to know about the history. They're probably going to learn like potential powers and stuff like that, which I thought was a very good way to end the episode. You don't want to like drown in like this, oh, I'm just going to be angry for 3 episodes for the sake of it. They were angry when they were, you know, when it made sense. And I think at this point, like, I think it works. I'm happy that the way they ended the episode moving into the future of the show. But of course, the big cliffhanger for the episode is actually the reveal of the mysterious stranger And as I said, his ship is like hidden in like the snowy mountains. I'm not too sure if it's necessarily next to the Fortress of Solitude or not, but it's just in the snowy mountains somewhere. And we learn that his name, we didn't get a first name, but we know that he's Captain Luthor. But it is a black gentleman, so it's an African American, potentially Lex Luthor. He is bald, so you have to say it's Lex Luthor. So that's a big wow moment heading into the future of this show, and we'll have to wait and see where all that goes. I do wonder whether he's like, I don't know if he's from an Earth where maybe Kal-El looks the same. Like, does he look like the Kal-El on this Earth, like the Superman, or does he look different on that Earth? I have to wait and see, and we'll have to see like what his motives are. Is it just like this deep down hatred for Superman where he just goes after him no matter what Earth he's on, or is there a specific reason for this? So I'm excited to see the developments of that and the motives, but we'll have to wait and see in the future episodes because that's how episode 1 finished off. But overall, like, man, like that's how you do a premiere, I think. I think extending this, making this an extended 90-minute premiere was the way to go. It allowed us to actually gel with the characters. I actually think I'm actually trying to think like the hypothetical situation where this was a normal just 1 hour drama with ads, so it's really in like 42 minutes odd of footage, and there would have been a lot of rush stuff. They actually got to marinate stuff in this episode, and then they can just play off it going forward. They don't have to like keep setting stuff up in future episodes because a lot of it is done here, and I think they did it really, really well. And I think it's a good advertisement as well. It's like, I mean, if you didn't want to watch a show after this one, then after this episode, then that's your loss because I think they nailed it. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about the first episode of Superman and Lois. Were you impressed? I'm sure you were, but let me know your various opinions out there. Any theories you have as well going forward. I'm always curious. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll have my trailer breakdown for episode 2 if that gets uploaded at some point over the next couple of days or tomorrow, whatever. So keep your eyes out for that. But until the next video, I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.